Hey guys, Monochrome here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Genuinely good to have you. Today we're taking a look at the Kershaw Drivetrain. Here's the box it comes in. Standard Kershaw box. All right, let's get this out of the way. I don't do unboxing videos. And here it is. As you can see, definitely bigger than average EDC knife. That's because it's not really an EDC knife, but I'll get into that a little bit later. So let's start out with the blade end first. As you can see, it comes with dual thumb studs and a flipper. Now this is one of those models where you're much better off using the flipper. You really are. So, okay, here we go. Yep, this is speed assisted. Bead blasted blade. Kershaw calls this a drop point. Okay, not quite, but okay, let's go with that. Here's the spine of the blade. It's a little bit odd in that the back starts out a bit thick, it narrows a little bit, and then it thickens up again before narrowing right at the tip. The jimping, in profile, it looks shallow, looks as though it's just for show. Nope, this jimping, although there's not much of it, is functional. Now, this will not take skin off the pad of your thumb. It's not very aggressive jimping, but it's definitely functional. It looks like it's just for show, but yeah, it works well. Moving on to the handle scales. Well, polymer plastic. Here, on top and on bottom, it's smooth, and in the middle, there seems to be some micro checkering going on. The handle scales on both sides have a nice design to them, but again, polymer plastic. Here, and the middle portion. Yep, there's some nice, what looks like micro checkering. And just like the jimping on the rear spine of the blade, the micro checkering is functional. And the way the rest of the handle scales are scalloped, very comfortable in the hand. If you wear large size gloves, you will love how in the open position, your hand is locked in to that handle. Absolutely excellent. Your hand is not going anywhere. It's locked in there. This knife feels as though it was custom created to fit perfectly in my hand and lock it in there. I mean, just absolute perfect. Here we have the pocket carry clip with the Kershaw name on it. And the thing is, this is not a low profile clip. It is rather thin, it is rather small, but it's functional. It works, it gets the job done. But if you're going to put a non-low profile carry clip on a knife, especially one this size, that's definitely a bit bigger than the average EDC clip carried knife, this clip should be black. This clip, these screws, and right there, that should all be black. I mean, why have something that both literally and figuratively sticks out from the pocket. Literally, because it's not a low-profile carry clip, and figuratively because, yeah, if you're wearing black pants or blue jeans, wow, is that going to stand out? And we definitely don't need that. Back here, you'll find something rather interesting. Now, what is that thing right there? Well, that is a low-profile window breaker. That's right. That's a low-profile window breaker. Now, here's the thing. That is not a low-profile skull crusher. Don't get it mixed up. No, that is a low-profile window breaker in case you need to rescue someone from a trapped car. And how do I know that? Here's how. Because this thing has another feature. That is not a broken handle scale. That is not an artistic design on the drivetrain. What you're looking at right here is a liner lock seatbelt cutter. And that's as far as it moves. So it's a little tough to see. Just press on that. There we go. Yep, that is the second liner lock on this knife. Here's the first one. Stainless steel. And just in case I forgot to mention it, specs in the description box below. But yeah, and obviously this seatbelt cutter is not meant to be used with the blade open. So let's just close this plain edge Stonewash blade with the open pillar design. I love that. It makes it so much easier to clean your knives. But yeah, let's close that up. Oh, by the way, there is no extra safety feature that prevents the blade from coming out. So you do have to be a little bit careful because, yeah, there is no safety feature at all. And this blade, oh yeah, it comes out so quickly, my camera can't even keep up. So this is one of those very quick, speed-assisted manual knives. So just be careful. There's no secondary safety feature holding the blade in the closed position. But closed position, this thing right here, that's the liner lock. And yeah, you really don't want to thumb this open with one hand, although it looks like you could, because let me just carefully open this with one hand. And it just locked into place. Because right there, yep, that's the cutter. Right there, right where the tip of my finger is, and it's a little too close, so I'm going to back up a little bit. But yeah, and the way you use this, once you have it opened and it locks into place, again, it doesn't move beyond this very short distance. You then grab a seatbelt in one hand, put this over the seatbelt and cut. Now, for those of you who saw the review that I did on this dedicated Smith & Wesson rescue knife, yeah, this one has a much bigger, more traditional, non-moving seatbelt cutter. Does it work well? Yes, it does. And again, hold the seatbelt, place the blade up, over, and pull back. This doesn't move. So in an emergency situation, if you have this on you, you don't have to worry about your fine motor skills vanishing on you because you just witnessed maybe a horrific accident. And, oh yeah, that is a much more prominent glass breaker tip. Much more prominent. So yeah, more prominent seatbelt cutter, much more prominent glass breaker tip. This one is not speed assisted. However, it is partially serrated. So if you're having problems hooking that seatbelt and you need to use the blade, yeah, this is going to work well. Plus, even though the handle looks like it would be horribly uncomfortable, I can seriously bear down on this, no pain at all. And also, liner lock. Although the clip position, yeah, one way. And that is one minor issue with this one, because the clip position, due to this avant-garde, I think that would be a proper term, this avant-garde seatbelt cutter, because of that, this clip is also one position only, but it's tip-up carry instead of tip-down. Push in on that, and you can lower the rather artistic-looking seatbelt cutter. Now, is this design superior to the universal rescue knife design that happens to be on the Smith & Wesson? No, but it definitely makes for a much better looking knife. I mean, this is not a comparison video. This is not a versus video. This was created to be a larger general purpose EDC knife that could very easily be pressed into service as a rescue knife if needed, but one that lacks the rather very functional and, let's face it, ugly looks of a traditional rescue knife. I mean, that is just not pretty at all. Highly functional, works great, not very stylish, not very pretty. This one, oh, she is a slightly pretty one. Oh yes, this is, I mean, it's functional and yet it's artistic, it's good looking. This glass breaker is completely out of the way unless you need it. So this is a general use, general purpose, larger than average EDC knife, or wider than average EDC knife that can be very easily pressed into service as a rescue knife because it has the rescue knife features, glass breaker tip and seatbelt cutter feature. Although I wish there was an option for a partially serrated blade. Nope, plain edge only. So, other issues. Oh yeah. Again, I really wish that Kershaw had blackened this clip, the screws, and right here too. There's no reason for any of this to be shiny. None. Again, not a direct comparison video, but the Smith & Wesson is all black with a black clip that is very low profile. This one, yeah. This is the type of thing where you definitely want to spray paint the clip, spray paint it black, and the screws. Lack of serrations, a little annoying. There's a little bit of jimping down here on the flipper. That's definitely less aggressive than up here. And the jimping up here, even though it is functional, again, not too aggressive, but the jimping down here on the flipper is even less aggressive than up here on the spine of the blade. Some of you are not going to like the fact that this thing has no safety mechanism for the blade and it's speed assisted. So there is that. Overall, though, I like the looks. I like the functionality. I like the fact that this knife is locked into my large size hands as though it was custom made for them. So if you have large size hands, this is going to feel really good. You guys are probably thinking that overall, I'm going to recommend this knife. Well, you'd be wrong, because there is one huge freaking issue with it that most people consider to be minor. It's not minor. Yeah, this knife does not get a recommendation from me at all, because there is one huge issue. I'll just say this. If you're looking for a rescue knife, buy a freaking rescue knife. If you're looking for a good-looking, relatively inexpensive knife that has hidden rescue knife features, yeah, you could buy this one, but you'll probably regret it because of one thing. When I talked about the blade, when I usually talk about the blade in my review videos, I tell you guys what it's made out of. I didn't tell you guys this time what it's made out of because I was saving that for last. Yeah, I was saving the worst for last. And no, it's not as though this thing is made from cheap 3 or 5 CR MOV, or maybe badly heat-treated 8 CR MOV, 9 CR MOV. No, this thing is made from modern budget D2. Now, here's the thing. Back in the day, about 20 years ago, And quite frankly, up until very recently, D2 was considered a premium blade steel. And there was some debate as to whether or not it's the least rust-resistant stainless steel due to its composition, or is it the most rust-resistant carbon steel? And for those of you who know the difference, you know what that means. Personally, I look at it as the most rust-resistant carbon steel out there. And generally in America, D2's composition puts it in the carbon steel class. In Europe, it is generally considered a stainless steel, the least rust-resistant stainless steel. But that's not the issue. The issue is that even though for most of its existence, D2 was considered an absolute premium steel, all of a sudden, in the last maybe 2 years, maybe 3, you're seeing D2 used on budget models like this one. And it's like, for those of you who collect knives, for those of you who understand knives, you know something is way the hell wrong. I mean, here you have a traditional premium steel, D2, holds its edge like you would not believe, almost impossible to resharpen when it goes dull, but it holds its edge for the longest of time. And all of a sudden, just all of a sudden, it's being used on budget knives. This thing, $50. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense at all. Let me put it to you this way. Imagine GM came up with a new generation Corvette, and they still gave you a high-performance V8 engine. Sounds great, huh? And you're probably thinking, wow, that thing is probably 80, 85, 90,000. And then GM tells you, nope, you can have it for 15,000, not 50, 15. If you were a car enthusiast, you'd say to yourself, hold on, something is way the hell wrong. You do not sell a brand new Corvette with a V8 engine, a high-performance V8 engine, for 15,000. Are you kidding me? What's wrong with it? Because something's wrong. Well, same thing here, guys. Something is very much wrong, because the D2 that you find on modern day, current model budget blades, like the Drivetrain, yeah, that's not the premium D2. That is very specifically, very carefully heat treated and costs a significant amount of money. No. What you're getting is cheap garbage D2. That is not worth buying at all. I would rather have a knife made out of 7CR MOV 13 than have one made from D2 if we're talking about budget models. because this current crop of budget models that use D2, the steel is garbage. There, I said it. It is. Why? Because imagine if this blade was made out of glass. It's not going to bend. It's going to snap in half and break on you. Now, I'm not picking on Kershaw. Most of you know that I am a Kershaw fanboy, but I still review their knives in the right damn way. No bias. And yeah, I bought this and I regret buying it because just like every budget knife model out there made from D2 blade steel, this freaking blade might as well be made out of glass. Use it hard, it will break. It's not going to bend, it will break. Premium D2 won't snap in half on you. And I don't mean the tip, I mean snap in half. Sorry about bumping the camera. You guys know I sometimes get passionate when I see BS, or what I consider to be BS. And I consider budget D2 to be absolute BS. This knife and others like it are not going to stand up to a ton of abuse. You'll have some knives, the tip might snap if you abuse them. Budget D2 on a budget knife, yeah, that blade is most likely to snap in half regardless of who made it. I'm not just picking on Kershaw. So, because this is made from modern day budget D2 garbage, this gets in a void. And so does every single budget knife made from D2. Because every single budget knife that has D2 in it, that is budget garbage D2. That is like GM selling you a high-performance Corvette with a high-performance V8 engine, and yeah, we're only going to charge you $15,000. Isn't that wonderful? Hell no, that's not wonderful. Something is way the hell wrong, and I don't know what it is, but something's way the hell wrong. Well, yeah, same thing here, only in my case, I did some research and I figured out what was wrong. So guys, this gets in a void. So does every single knife like it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Yeah, I got a little passionate. Oh well, it happens. Guys, stay safe out there. Unfortunately, yeah, it's still dangerous. I'll see you soon.